Dear sisters, I have just had the shock of my life. How do I fix this? I just discovered that my fiance's father is someone I have hooked up with in the past. I have had a very tough life growing up. I have literally done everything for myself. I have never experienced true love or compassion before, and I don't know how that feels like. I have been an adult all my life because I have had to fend for myself since childhood. I hooked everything with my hands and found and seen myself through my education. I have lived a very tough life. Fast forward, during my second year in the university, things became so tough that I found myself belonging to a group of girls on campus. I was introduced to several men at different parties and events who will give me money after every meeting. This is how I paid my school fees and took care of myself. In my third year, I was hooked up with a man whom I met in a very luxurious hotel. When I arrived, he had a smile on his face upon seeing me and had a very warm reception for me. We talked, laughed, and shared jokes. In fact, he advised me all day, and to my surprise, nothing happened between us. It was as though I was his daughter. This man talked me out of the situation I found myself in and blessed me with a huge amount of money. He gave me $30,000 and asked me to go back to school and do something better with my life. I was overjoyed that I cried all throughout my journey back to my hostel. Sisters, this was the first time I was receiving such an amount of money in my entire life. I invested the money in a business while in school, and it has become bigger even after graduating. A few months after graduation, I met this fine gentleman who I fell in love with. I mean, deeply in love with. And I must say, this is the first time I'm falling in love. We are madly in love with each other and can't stay a day away from each other. Teddy couldn't help but pop the question 5 months after dating, and I said yes. He invited me over to his house to meet his parents, and upon arrival, the father was the man who gave me the $30,000 years ago that changed my life. He begged me to leave his son alone. Oh my God, how do I get out of this? I pretended not to know him, and he did the same. After we had a very long conversation, and my fiance and I left the house, I didn't say a word while we drove home, and my fiance kept asking me why I was quiet, but I couldn't say anything. How can I tell him this? It will break him. I even told his dad that I'll confess to his son. And but he begged me not to say anything to his son. Sisters, I really need your help. Should I leave my fiance, or should I stay and face the consequences? I need your advice. Miss A from Kumasi.
Can I?
Yes, you can.
My first instinct is that go away. Just leave this whole drama and move on with life. I like that. Fortunately, this was just a 5-month relationship. I won't say just 5 months, because I know 5-month relationship, some 5-month relationship that has blossomed into an amazing marriage with beautiful kids, and I think they've been married for about 6 years now. So 5 months is not just 5 months, but in your situation, it's just 5 months. Lady, walk away.
Why?
Walk away with your dignity and leave this mess. Because what are you expecting? You are going to tell the guy for him to say, okay, I'm going to choose you over my father. Think about the chaos you are going to bring in the home. You know, some men have this whole separate life outside of their families that nobody has a clue about. So imagine this is the father who has this separate life outside of home. The son respects him so much, holds his father in high esteem, and now all of a sudden they are going to break it to him that, oh, I had an affair with your father years back, and he, okay, they didn't even have an affair, but I met with your father, blah blah blah. You know, sometimes you explain things to people and you can never control how they take it, right? You can come and tell me, oh, I hanged out with an old man in a hotel. I might just nod my head and say, okay, but you would never know what I'm thinking. And this is to his father, for goodness sake. I feel like you have less to lose if you move on with life than stay in this relationship.
So, but when you move on and the man asks you what,
the boy asks you.
Yeah, the boy asks what's the reason.
So girls have flimsy, interesting, unique, special excuses to leave relationships. Trust me. Just this afternoon, I was having a conversation with my electrician, and he was saying that his girlfriend left him because, like, he smiles too much or something. Some funny, interesting excuse. My girl, this man has helped you. He literally took you out of poverty. If not for him, you would be sleeping around with men. God knows what you would contract through that endeavors. Rosie here always talks about STDs, STIs, and all these infections that come from interactions. We all know. He literally saved your life. He literally transformed your life. If left for me personally, my darling, I will walk away with my dignity. All right. That is my take.
Okay, so Olivia, obviously, she has said that, you know, she should leave the relationship. But in the letter, the man didn't want the girl to tell the son. So do you think it's better for them to both keep their secrets but still live normally?
She didn't sleep with the guy.
Exactly.
This is what I think. The guy, the father, right, knows the secret. He didn't sleep with her, therefore they don't have any sexual connection. If they had slept together, I would have had a big problem with it, but they didn't sleep together. And the father is ready and willing to actually keep that information away from his son because he doesn't want his son to get hurt. The question is, after the man gave her the money, did she continue or she did a business? I mean, people have passed. I'm not condoning or saying, like, you know, her past. Nobody, I mean, he who is without sin should cast the first stone. She had a horrible past. She went through struggles. She had to do what she had to do, even though I would have advised otherwise. She
Different
had to do,
ways, yeah.
Yes, she had to do.
That's the situation she found herself.
In, and thankfully she came out of it, and she's who she is today. It's not her fault that she had to do those things. It's different if she's still doing those things, but she's not. She's turned over a new leaf. She's found this relationship, and her father-in-law is not blackmailing her. Her father-in-law has not said, stay away from my son because I have the secret over you. You know, I think that she should have a conversation with the father.
Yeah. Tell
the father, okay, I love your son. Give the father a reason to trust you. I mean, he can actually be your father-in-law. He can be your father.
If he
didn't sleep with you, then it means that he has some kind of goodness in his heart. You see, so have that conversation with him and say to him, Father, or, you know, there's a possibility that I could be your daughter-in-law. This is something that we both know. This is how we met. And in meeting like this, now I am in love with your son. What do you think? Hear what the man has to say. If the man says, I don't think you're good enough for my son, stay away, then you know that, okay, out of respect, right, then maybe you stay away. This is what I think. Out of respect, stay away. But if he doesn't have any problem, just ask his opinion because he knows. And honestly, sometimes I feel like what you don't know will not hurt you. If he loves his son and they love each other and she's turned over a new leaf, I mean, who knows? The father-in-law, for him to even be in a place like that is not a saint. But I still don't think that it's prudent for you to give up on love entirely just because you had a bad past. Not everybody has a clean past, and you're entitled to fall in love. You're entitled to be loved. You deserve to be loved. Just make sure you iron things out with your soon-to-be father-in-law and see where it goes. If it works out, okay. If it doesn't work out, at least you learn and then you move on.
Leaning more towards Olivia. But the question is that when the man met with the lady in that room, the question is, why did he not sleep with her? You see, sometimes such men who sleep with people, they encounter people and immediately they can see the gem hidden in the rough, right by seeing them, right by their aura, their presence, and what they are doing. Because I don't think that as a man, I don't think he had 30,000 to be dishing out to every woman that he went to meet.
Yeah.
So I won't say he was doing charity. There was a reason why he decided not to touch the girl, but he decided to change the girl's life. And the fact that the girl took that money and turned it around for a good, for me, it's a selling story. It's a story you can even start a YouTube channel with, to be honest.
Yeah.
It is a telling story. The fact that you were so broke, you were so poor, you had to do this for ends to meet. Not that you enjoyed it, but thankfully you met somebody, the person spoke to you, and you were able to see reason, and the person actually went ahead and gave you capital. And that is why you have become the successful woman that you are today. It's actually a selling point. The only time I think you should run away from the family at all costs is if you had actually slept with a man. Then for me, it changes the dynamics completely. If you had actually slept with a man, then I would say, because you have slept with a man, it's such a tough sell, especially in our parts of the world, that father and son have eaten from the same pot. It's not a sweet story to tell.
Yeah.
But where he almost, but he didn't. He actually financed you. Look, if you believe in the love that you have with a boy, this is the point where you come clean. I'm not even talking about the father. Come clean with the son. And tell her, look, I have something to tell you. It's a make or break. If you still want me after this, you're going to make it happen. If this is the reason why you don't want me, but personally, I cannot go into the marriage keeping secrets away from you. That's one. Number two, your dad is a fantastic gentleman. I know your dad. And without the help of your dad, I wouldn't have been where I am today. And break the news to him. Because when he met you, you were not a virgin.
Well, that's true.
And neither was he, maybe.
And neither was he. And the fact that you give him that pass doesn't mean that you tell him that my clients were 300 in number. They could have been 3. He could have been the 3rd candidate or the 2nd candidate.
Even the first.
Or even the first. You understand? So this is where you come clean with your fiance and tell your fiance that, look, this is exactly what happened. I still love you, but don't tell your fiance that your father has asked you to leave. Me, I would tell him like I'm telling him, because I've been confronted with the situation and I had a past and I had an intervention from a good Samaritan, and the Samaritan turned things around. We're getting married. I don't think we should hide anything. This is something I've really forgotten about because it's way in my past. But as soon as I saw your dad, I knew that this is something I had to tell you.
That I know this man.
And that I know this man, and this is how he has helped me. He never touched me, he respected me, or the contrary, he listened to my story and he gave me capital to start a business, to go to school, to do whatever, and that's what has made me the kind of woman I am today. So earn the respect of the son. And after that, the level 2 is what Olivia is saying. Have a conversation with the man. So ask the man a few questions that, why did you invest that money in me? I'm sure you saw something in me. You saw some good in me. I have changed. I am not that girl you met before. Give me an opportunity to show you the kind of person that I am and the kind of person I can be to your son. I have been through the rough. I've learned the hard way. And today, I can hold my head up high because of someone like you. In fact, this is an opportunity to thank you, because I didn't know where I would find you anymore. But this is an opportunity to really thank you for what you've done, because this is what you did to me, or what you did for me, is what has made me who I am today. So gradually, but the thing is, to think of leaving the relationship just because of that abruptly, for me, is some way. I think that because you see, love.
I mean, I feel like you've invested so much emotionally.
Yes, because love, you see, sometimes somebody will be in a relationship for 8 years. And you ask the person, do you love this person? The person said, Charlie, I don't love the person, but Charlie, there's nobody else. Somebody can be with somebody for 1 month.
That's true.
And then the whole world is falling apart.
Yeah.
So sometimes you can't really quite tell that number of months or number of years together is correlated to how deeply the love is. So sometimes when you meet somebody, you can meet someone, okay, this is the one. You can't say that it's because of money. You just know that this is the one. So if that person is the one for you, you don't just throw your hands in the air at the first challenge and say, I've given up. If you do that, then it means that in your marriage, at the first instance, Charlie, I can't do this anymore, I'm heading out. So that's why I would agree with Olivia, but I would think that come clean with your fiance, because when you're going into a marriage situation, anything that could cause wahala, diseases in your family, in this situation, the man that you have, Charlie, come clean with those ones. The ones you can hide them, but ones that you know that it will come out, come clean with it. So you have the first, how do you call it?
First mover advantage.
The mover advantage. You understand? You have the mover advantage to tell your story, for the person to listen. Because if the father, because he realizes that you are adamant, decides to call the son and say, Charlie, this girl, do you know this girl?
The story will be different.
I've been meeting her, and she goes to brothels, and I've been meeting her. I met her in brothel once. I have friends who have met her places, and he won't even complete the story that he didn't sleep with you. And for him, all he will hear is old men were meeting you in brothels, and that's it.
That's all.
So have the mover advantage. Talk to your fiancé. Also manage to have a conversation with your soon-to-be father-in-law, and let him see the sincerity in you. That sincerity he saw, that made him give you $30,000. That same sincerity is the same thing. You are coming to like, listen, you're a changed person. This is the evidence. And I'm sure it's going to happen over time. But to give up at the slightest, that means that you probably don't love him to begin with. But I can agree with Felicia, because sometimes these family things, depending on how closely knit they are,
it could be scary.
It could be scary. Look, when you meet some family that are very traditional, very traditional in thinking, sometimes even the kids don't have a say in what they have to do without the stamping of their parents and things like that, it can get very difficult. If that is the kind of family you are in, then maybe you just have to cut your losses and then live with the consequences of your actions. But I think you should fight for love, because it's not easy finding someone that you truly love. If you find someone you love, fight for it.
Right.
Before we go on a break.
Yeah.
Okay, quickly. You know how Rosina was going on about the situation, and then sometimes you're being pushed to the wall. My mom died when I was around 19, 20. She died. My dad, literally, like, my siblings had nowhere to stay. My point is, it's a bit of a long story, but because we have to go on a break. But my point is, sometimes people are not patient with God.
Hallelujah.
Amen.
Hallelujah.